Hey everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash and today I'm talking to you about MiLE Taxi on the PC. Now MiLE Taxi was released on the 13th of March 2023. I believe it's made by solo developer Cassius John Adams, and it's described as like a sort of spiritual successor to Crazy Taxi, which sort of mixes Crazy Taxi with the Fifth Element style, sort of flying around in like a space taxi. Now, I love the Fifth Element films, and I always thought, wouldn't it be cool to have like a proper game where you fly around in like the taxis and then the cars and stuff like that through all the city streets? So it was really cool to see that this game was actually coming out, and I've been following it for a while before release. I saw some of the posts on social media and thought it looked pretty decent. So when I was sent a code by the developer, I was loving having the ability to check it out. So I must admit, straight up, it's a bit of a mixed bag, unfortunately. While it is fun, it's not perfect by far, but it does show potential. Now, in this game, you will basically play as a taxi driver, having to pick people up and take them to their destinations all across the city. Now, this is a lot more sort of 3D compared to like Crazy Taxi games in there's different levels to the city, so they could be higher, they could be lower. You basically have to just make sure you're going to the right place. Now, gameplay wise, that's about it. You will also get upgrades as you're playing through on like regular mode. You'll get messages saying there's like boost upgrades available and stuff like that, and you have to basically pull up at a taxi rank to get upgraded. Once you get a few more, you do go a lot faster. When you first start, you're not super quick, but it does definitely improve. Now, there's a couple of different characters you can pick from the beginning of the game, with each of them with their own sort of unique taxi design. You can change the skin colour and stuff. They're nothing major, it's nothing fantastic, but it's nice to have a few different taxis on offer. Now, the first red flag was the really sort of... It's the UI and polish, which is what stood out to me. When you first boot up the game, there's no sort of intro, it just goes sort of straight into this weirdly long cutscene of looking at a sort of elevator door for a few minutes. It's weird, I don't know why that's in there, but it just goes straight in from that into the menu, and then you start. Now, you can pick a tutorial which gives you the basics, you can play through that. There's a regular mode which I played, a free roam mode where you're able to basically explore the city with no limits or passengers or anything, and just sort of drive around and sort of figure it out and looking at all the nooks and crannies. And there's also a challenge mode. I didn't play the challenge mode, but apparently it's increasingly difficult challenges as you deliver your passengers basically one after the other. Whereas in regular mode, it's more the sort of standard fare of you pick up and drop passengers off, and you can pick which ones you want to pick up next and stuff like that. And you've got a time limit. Every time you drop a passenger off, you get a bit more time. If you do it quickly, you get a bonus with more like money and more time basically from them. Now, the world itself is very busy. There's lots of cars and people about and lots of adverts. It's definitely like a horrible look into what the future could possibly have been. It would scare me if this was the real world. Now, while it does look nice, the character models aren't great. There are a few glitches where they'll be like stood in between things, and they'll be like not really sat where they're supposed to be sat, and they're floating and stuff. And some of the times the camera just doesn't like it, and there's pop-ins and stuff. But it didn't really affect the actual core gameplay. I mean, when I got going, the first couple of games, I was still unsure exactly what I was doing. But when I actually got going, I was just playing and playing. I do think it's too easy. In the regular mode is way too easy, because I ended up playing for like half an hour, and I was like, well, I'm just going to let the timer run out because I have got other things to do now. I was just going and going and going, and I was like, it just was too easy. So maybe they could do the challenge mode is the thing I should really be playing going forward with this game. Now, this game is only playable with a pad. You cannot play it without a controller. It'll just pop up when you start the game saying no controller detected. So I did have to plug my Xbox controller into my PC to be able to play it. Not that I'm bothered. I'd much rather play a driving game on a pad. So that was a win in my book anyway. But it just literally, as soon as you switch it on, it's like, no, 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 you can't do that. Now, one other thing I didn't like about the game was going up and down isn't as easy and as cool as it looks at times. It's sometimes very slow and you sort of like hover up and down. Now, it's not perfect and you get better at it as you're going, but you've got like a vertical hover and low, which is great for like parking, but other than that, you end up having to sort of like really point your car upwards just to try and get to the higher areas. Now, overall, like I say, it's not a bad little game. It does show promise. It is fun. I would play this, like I said, I played for it for about 2 hours when I got the key and really enjoyed it. And I've gone back little bits and bobs. I play like a run at a time for like 10 to 20 minutes or so, depending on how much time I have spare. It's not bad at all, but you can see that it does need a little bit more polish, and maybe future updates would really sort of give it that sort of push to being like as good as it could be. Because like I say, it's a really great premise. They've took something that lots of people wanted and then they've made it, even like I say, they've made it a reality, but it could just do with that little bit more. Now, to say this has been done by like a solo dev though, fair play to them. They're very vocal. They do lots of updates online, on social media, on YouTube. They've done updates since I recorded all my footage. There's been new updates come out as well to the game, with like audio adjustments and stuff like that, quicker turns. The map could use an improvement in my opinion. I just could not understand like the height on some of them, and sometimes like the map would change the view, which made it really awkward to see what I was looking at. But overall, like I say, the dev seems to be like on it and want to improve it, so fair plays to them as well. Like I say, if they can make it work, fantastic. It's got Steam achievements, it's got Steam leaderboards, it's got a great rocking soundtrack. I mean, it's never gonna match the license greatness of the old like 90s games and stuff, but it fits the sort of style of the game perfectly. It gets you right in the mood. And like I say, really, really good. Now, it's priced at £14.29. And if you're a Crazy Taxi fan, you probably get a massive kick out of this. Like I say, it's more appealing to that nostalgia of Crazy Taxi and Fifth Element. I'd love to see some like Fifth Element sort of themed characters maybe put into the game, like not official, but they're clearly who they're like, very clear parodies of who they're supposed to be, and also maybe more features, or like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, like landscapes and sort of monuments or something around the city to make finding your way around easier and more memorable. Because when I was playing it, every street just looked like rows of houses, and that's not a bad thing. Like I say, I don't remember all of the environments in every game I play, but in a game about dropping people off and stuff and finding the quickest way, having some more sort of obvious landmarks would really benefit, in my opinion. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, like really fun to play. I really enjoyed my time playing it, and I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to keep my eye out on the developers' social media for updates, as well as on Steam and stuff like that, to see what gets added. But it's just a little bit unpolished at this moment in time to fully recommend it 100%. Like, it's definitely got a lot of promise, but there's just certain bits that just unfortunately bring it down a peg or two to where it should be. But they are easily fixed, and with the way the dev's been sort of actively developing it, I have high hopes that if I go back to this in 6 months, it's probably going to be a much better game. But anyway, that's that for this video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below to let us know what you think of this game. Are there any other Crazy Taxi style games you'd like to see us try in future? I'm not playing the Fifth Element game that came out years ago, though, because that was absolute garbage. But leave your comments down below, and I will try and put them on our to-do list for the future. But other than that, we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.